Will a young Bruce Wayne be willing to risk it all to turn his body into a living weapon, even if it means rubbing up against some of his own personal morals? Well, let's hop into the pages of Batman The Knight, issue number 4, and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, Bruce is a couple months out from his adventures in France. He's climbing a snowy mountain peak in South Korea in hopes of finding an ancient martial arts master by the name of Kirigi. Kirigi, in case you're wondering, is actually a character from 80s Batman comics and actually predates many of Bruce Wayne's other kung fu masters. Now, just getting into this guy's dojo is a test in endurance in and of itself. One does not simply walk into Kirigi school without getting their ass kicked over and over again. Now, by the time Bruce Wayne gets left bloody in the snow by just about every other student in the school, they realize he's not going anywhere and that they might as well let him in to train. Bruce tries to give his new sensei the whole spiel about how he wants to be better, how he wants to fight crime and injustice, but Kirigi actually cuts him off. He doesn't really care one way or another why Bruce is here. He only cares that he'll do the work without asking a lot of questions. The first couple months at the dojo are hard for Bruce. He admits that he's a man untethered, unmoored from his home, from what's left of his family. He probably would have lost his whole mind if he didn't end up making a friend in the form of Anton, another student who, like him, strives to be the very best, and who, like Bruce, also doesn't exactly follow the rules 100%, though as he says, he's been at this dojo long enough to know that even Master Kirigi has his own dark secrets. And I mean, yeah, why does a Japanese martial arts practitioner have a secret school on a mountain in Korea on the border of China if he wasn't kicked out from his home originally? Now, Bruce's relationship with Anton is great because Zdarsky takes the time to really echo a lot of relationships we'll see in the future between Bruce and the Robins, between Bruce and Gordon and Alfred. Despite Bruce believing that he is this lone wolf on a sole mission, he is ultimately a very social animal. He needs people. And being in friendly competition with Anton only pushes Bruce to do better in his own studies, become a better ninja, become a better kung fu master. Anton himself, though, is a little cagier, though, about his own reasons for studying. He says that, like Bruce, he wants to become the very best, and with these skills that you could learn from Master Kirigi, you could either become a great crime fighter or a great criminal yourself. Anton will eventually go on to say perhaps it would be more interesting being a crime fighter, as that is the much harder row to hoe, unlike being a criminal, which would be much too easy. Training at the ninja school ends up taking a rather dark turn, though, when several new students are all admitted at once. Unlike Anton and Bruce, they didn't get the crap knocked out of them in the snow. They were just allowed to come in. Also, unlike Anton and Bruce, who have shown each other a fair amount of respect, these new students are much more bloodthirsty and more willing to kill in a regular old day-to-day training exercise. Bruce begins to think if he has Master Kirigi all wrong, and he starts to lose faith in what he's learning. All of this ends up coming to a major head when Kirigi is ready to teach them his final lesson, the ultimate art of death technique. Basically, it's the five-finger palm exploding heart technique from Kill Bill, the ultimate kill move. Bruce refuses to learn this move, though, vowing to not be a killer himself, a feeling that is only further emboldened when we're reminded that Master Kirigi went into hiding in the first place after one of his own students murdered a justice minister back in Japan using what the Master had taught him. Anton asks to go along with Bruce, but is ultimately turned down. Kirigi himself even shows up to stop Bruce from leaving, saying that he's the greatest student he's ever had, and if he stays and learns this technique, he will truly become unstoppable. But maybe Bruce doesn't want to be unstoppable. Maybe he just wants to be good, and he knows that if he stays, he may learn the ultimate technique, but it will cost him a piece of his soul that he'll never get back. It's while heading back down the mountain, though, those other more sinister students end up jumping Bruce, no doubt wanting to try out their new killer technique. As we discover, these are actual professional junior assassins who were sent to Kirigi by a mysterious benefactor to learn their skills. In return for teaching them, Kirigi would be allowed to keep his school open and run it as he saw fit. Again, your guess is as good as mine about which famous assassin was using him. Bruce puts up a valiant fight, but he's outnumbered and outgunned. Luckily, Anton ended up following along anyway, and together the two are more than capable of taking down the other assassin students. It looks like wherever Bruce is going next and whatever great master he hopes to learn under, Anton is going to be sticking with him. Unfortunately, what Bruce doesn't know is that Anton actually tipped off the assassins to where Bruce was going. Meaning that as the comic comes to to a close, Bruce is actually in more danger now than he ever was before. And so that was Batman the Knight issue number 4, everybody. And overall, I continue to absolutely love what Zdarsky is doing here. We've seen so many different takes on Batman's origins, especially his time in ninja monasteries, learning kung fu moves and everything. It would be very easy for this issue and this story to feel repetitive. But again, leave it to Zdarsky to find a whole new angle here, to tell a story about Batman turning away from the concept of murder while also trying to build a relationship with someone else. In fact, I find it especially interesting that Bruce ends up maybe trusting the wrong person too early into his young career, and maybe this explains why he guards his heart so much more later on in life. It's also pretty thematically apt too that one of Bruce's first earliest friends is someone who was secretly a villain and who might end up betraying him because, well, so many of the people closest to Bruce Wayne end up becoming bad guys one way or another. Overall, I'd feel comfortable giving this one a very strong 9 out of 10, and I cannot wait to see where the rest of the story goes from here.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.